Oh, buddy, Andy here again. Well, this may well turn into a bit of a rant. Anyway, tonight I've been out to a particular event that's been publicised to a reasonable extent, I suppose, in what I would class as a prestigious venue, certainly in our particular area as well. And an event that was billed as being something that was random, something that was going to be arty, music, DJ, something you're never quite sure what's going to happen, open to lots of different ideas, etc. People were able to put their own ideas forward. You could submit video ideas, etc., for possible inclusion in the particular event. This is the first one, I admit, and there's one going to be held every sort of month, I suppose, on a Friday once every month. And I have been talking through people that I've met at local sort of tweet ups as well about possibly getting something together ourselves to promote what we're trying to do, getting people, the Twitter thing and the local social networking, but on a local scale, and maybe trying to promote that. And one of the other guys is involved with a photography group locally in Hastings on Flickr as well, and he wanted to promote something like that but wasn't able to get it together in time. So we both decided to meet up there and just go and support the event, have a look at it, see what the possibilities are, see what they're trying to do there, because as I said, it's a new event, so it's always good to try and go along and try and support something that's new, something that's arty, something that I suppose in some ways that I'm just getting into doing, something that I've maybe not done in the past, and that's something I will tackle in another video as well, the sort of local aspect of everything that's going on with this sort of online type of existence. But so we went over there, met up, and nothing happened. that was the point, really. We okay, we didn't know what we were expecting. The first event, anything like this, you're never quite sure, is it? It's a blank screen, a blank chalkboard, or whatever you want to call it. You're never quite sure what's going to be there. You're not quite sure what to expect. But I think we both expected, by hearing what we've heard and the event, thinking this could be something different. This could be something local. It would be a great way of getting all these people together to network, etc., and meet up with new people, etc., etc. Been promoted by a local magazine and a local clothing store, I think, initially as a sponsor, and the actual event at the venue itself is quite a well-known sort of arty venue, I should say. So there's all those sort of elements there. You think, you bundle these together, mix them up, the random element, get all these different people here, you're never quite sure what's going to happen. But there was nothing happening, really. You'd imagine, say straight off, I've never really been involved until very recently in the real organisation of something from the ground, from something that's brand new. I've been involved with things and have come in and helped to be involved with things and helped to organise things that have been going on for a few years. That's a different matter. When you have something that's brand new, that's something different altogether, and I'll come to that a bit later on, something that I'm involved in at the moment. But if it's your first try, if it's the first event that you're doing, you have to try and get it as right as you possibly can. You have to cover all the bases. You have to think of all the different avenues that people might be thinking of. You publicise something as the way you want it to go. You put these expectations out there for people. You put the ideas out, and people think, like myself and like the other guy that went as well, and quite possibly several of the other people that were there. Go there with a certain expectation, certain level of expectation, and then when you get there and you find out really there isn't anything going on, no real thought appears to be given to what's going on as well. It's very, very frustrating. And myself and the other guy were standing there thinking, is this it? Is this really what we've come to see when you've got someone playing music, not local music, just ordinary music from the 80s and things like that? Nothing wrong with the music, but you think, this is a local event trying to get local people, play some local music. Why not? I can give them some music. I'm sure they've got, I know the magazine probably gets submitted loads and loads of CDs, and they could pick out the best things and play some local music. Tell people. There was no speech at all, no introductions as to what's going on. You wouldn't actually have known when you walked in that event was happening. It was only because I knew what was happening that I knew what was going on. There was no indication really, apart from a few badges that were left on the excuse me, a few badges that were left on the bar, that's actually what the event was, and maybe a few little pieces of card, but amongst all the other pieces of card publicising other events and things that were going on at the venue. as I said, no one's saying, welcome to so and so, this is what's going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, if you want to do this, go over there. We were expecting other things to be there, information from other people who might want to be involved. Maybe they've had no submissions, although I don't think that's true. Maybe they've had no one that they feel is worth putting there. But you need to get people there. I can imagine what we were talking about today, myself and the other guy, was that I haven't really got any incentive to go back to something like this. If you're putting something on, you can't get everything right. I totally understand that. You can't get everything right first time round. There's a big learning process, there's a big learning curve, and you can fall at the first hurdle. I hope this hasn't happened, because we would like to get involved with this, sort of the people that I've been getting involved with locally recently. We can see there's a great big potential there, and it's so frustrating to go along to something and think, well, I would have done this, I would have done that, and the other guy's saying, well, we would have done this, we would have done that. And to me, it seems so obvious. All it was a lot of people standing around talking, probably people who knew each other already. There was no real networking opportunities. No one, you weren't sort of asked who you were and given badges or anything like that. No one was trying to introduce anybody. No one was saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm one of the sponsors. There was nothing there, as I said, to tell you what was going on. Very random, but far too random. Things didn't seem to happen at all. And as I said, a very, very frustrating event. And as I said earlier on in this particular rant, is that I know from experience now that it isn't easy to put these things on. But when you've got the publicity that these guys had available to them, they didn't utilise that publicity either. The magazine involved, there's nothing on their website that I can see that publicises the event that's there at the moment. The venue on their website, there's a little bit, but nothing really that really will want to entice you to go along to it at all. And the clothing people, I never saw anything about them at all. There was no samples, there was nothing there, there was nothing up. You can imagine that the magazine would have something up displaying what they're going on about. Maybe they just presumed that everybody knew what was going on. You can't presume these things. So if anybody's setting up an event, don't go about it in this way. As I said, I've been involved in the setting up of an event very recently, and I've been amazed at the level of detail that has to go into these things. As I said previously, I've been involved with the setting up of things. The first, I'll show you the poster. Let's give you some idea. This is the particular event. If I can get this up, and I probably will talk about this in future videos. The event is called Smooth Sunday, but that's pretty relevant to most of you because you're not going to be able to attend it as well. You've heard me talk about the Beatles Day events, and it's something similar along the same sort of lines, but with a different style of music. Now, the idea for this, the idea is that it supports a local charity, a local hospice, and myself and one of the other guys involved, we came up with the idea. We were sort of talking about it, wanted to do something. Came up with a name, came up with the idea for the poster, and have been arranging it between the two of us, and we've got some other people involved as well, hence the poster and that. But we've got a poster, which I think is very good. We've got banners put up, we've got posters dotted around the town, we've got connections with people, we've got publicity in the local paper, we've got all this sort of thing, we've got a website, we've got a Facebook group. I've been tweeting about, well, I certainly will be tweeting about it in the future, so we've got it in the local paper, and people have said to me, when I mention the event, oh yeah, I've seen the posters, so-and-so, the guy I met tonight, oh yeah, I've seen the posters in Bexhill, I've seen the posters in Hastings, I've seen the posters here. That's what you have to do. You have to think about every single aspect of it, even down to the how much money do you need on the door for the people that are going to come in? How many £20 notes? How many £10 notes do you need? How much in the way of coinage do you need? How many people do we need to do this? What are we doing backstage? What about the instruments? What about that? There is so much, and I was saying that the first meeting that I went to, I was absolutely flabbergasted. I happened to mention to my wife, and I said, I never realised how much detail went into putting together an event like this. But because it's the first event, you want to get it right. You want to make sure it's right. You get the poster right. You get the publicity right. You get the information right. And on the day, you make sure that everybody knows what they're doing. You make sure that everything's in its right place. Everybody is in the correct place as well. The people you want there to be there are going to be there. They're going to do what you want them to do. They understand what they need to do. They'll be there at the right time, etc. There's a lot of organisation, but if you're going to put something like this on, and especially if you want it to run If you've already, I mean, we haven't, but if you've got another event like the one I went to today, where you've got events planned every month in the future, you need to get it right, because I've got no intention of really wanting to go in the future. As I said before, I would love to go to these events. I can see a great potential there, but if the people who are running the events don't see the potential, or don't really see what they've got there, they're just sort of playing it by ear, or just expecting people to turn up, and it's like a group of friends who are going to turn up, they're not going to get anywhere, because they're not really converting any new people. They're just playing to the gallery. They're just playing to the same people who will probably turn up in any time. I understand that they were expecting about 300 people there tonight. Well, if they had 100, they were very lucky. That was about the maximum that were there, and people were leaving, as we did, well before the end of the event, because they probably turned up and thought, well, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not even sure if I'm going to post this, but it was just one of those things that I just find so frustrating, and I'm sure you can think of examples yourself. You go to something, you build up your hopes, and it doesn't matter whether it's an event like this, it could be anything, couldn't it? And you think, this sounds really good. You can see the potential in it. You can see the ideas behind it, and you can see where they're getting at. You can see what, what, as I said, what the potential is of an event, of whatever it might be, a website maybe, and then you go and visit it, you get involved in it, and you think, well, they just don't seem to get it. They don't seem to understand what they've got here, and it's so frustrating. They come up with the idea. You just wish that you come up with the idea, that you were actually organising it yourself, or at least had some influence on it, and you could actually put your own ideas in there and make it so much better. Yes, okay. We all think that we know best. We all think that we know exactly what we want, and any event that we organise is going to be tailored specifically to us. I totally understand that. But when you have an event and it doesn't really tailor to anybody's needs, it doesn't really seem to know where it's going, that is a big problem in my opinion. So anyway, I'll just sort of put that out there, and just have a bit of a rant and moan about something, but that's what this is about, isn't it? I don't do many rants, but every so often you just feel that you need to get something off your chest because something frustrates you so much. Maybe it's because I feel passionately about this. Talking to Terry, the other guy, tonight, we both feel passionately about this whole sort of social networking thing. We've come at this whole sort of local aspect from different avenues, him from photography, me from sort of video making, etc, etc. We both know exactly what we want out of an event like that. If we can think of that, why can't the people who are actually organising it? Just think how much effort they must have put into this in the past to get this event working today, booking a prestigious venue like they did today, getting that available, and getting the few people that were there and getting some publicity. But just think how so much better these things can be. You could just put a bit of a thought in it, bang a few heads together, and actually think, we need to think about everybody else. Don't think about yourself, think about what everybody else is going to want as well, because ultimately they're the people you've got to appeal to, not the people who think exactly the same as you, who are trying to get some money out of it or trying to make these things grow. You need to think about other people rather than just yourself. So there you go, maybe food for thought in that respect. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for your time. I shall speak to you again soon. Goodbye.